All right, we're live. What up, people? This is episode 3.5 of To the Q. This is your boy T, or your grown ass man T. And I have two guests with me on this episode, which they may be regular guests, so may not call them guests on the half episodes. So first, got my boy Jay.
Yep, let's go. Atlanta, stand up.
Jay is in Atlanta, as he said, and we got my boy Dane, who has breaking news of his location.
Absolutely. Breaking news. I'm out here in Houston, H-Town,
All right.
trying to see what it's about, getting to know the place a little better.
All right. So episode 2.5, I'm pretty sure I promised a whole bunch of stuff that's not going to be in this episode, but I'm not going to say get used to that, but get used to that a little bit. If you heard episode 3, which you should have before you listen to this episode, I did say I was going to talk about sports with a couple of my friends. Here they are. We had another person who couldn't make it this week, but he will be on next week or the week after. We make no promises, except that it'll be a good show. So
yeah.
This is almost a quiet season of sports right now. So it's funny to say that in the middle of the NBA season, but you got a bunch of people here in the U.S. Who really is football or nothing. But I did want to do a quick recap on football since now college football is over, the NFL is over, XFL hasn't started yet. So I wanted to give you guys final thoughts on the NFL season, just how you guys observed how it all turned out. Anything that stuck out to you on the season? Let's start there. Let me start with Jay.
All right, so my final thoughts on the season was overall a lot of teams that did well with through circumstance, backup quarterbacks, backup running backs, wide receivers, and injuries. So a lot of people persevered through a lot of injuries. The boycotts was the right. So I mean, the NFL lost a lot of viewers. They're going to blame it on the boycott. For people of color like myself, I think it was a great thing that we as a collective started doing things. I think it was a great beginning, but not an end. I just think, Colin Kaepernick will live forever for what he did, but I think people will begin to lose sight of it coming up into the next season. Yeah. But I think great thing showing for this season to happen, and I kind of was an ideal moment for it to happen due to Orangeman and his crew.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Dane?
I think this season was okay. Nothing to write home about. I just think the NFL missed a lot of in-game or in-season storylines because of the whole Colin Kaepernick and the president hijacking the narrative of that whole kneeling thing, and that became the story about the NFL. But there was no storylines that really struck out, or they all got buried because of all that. So you didn't hear about Tom Brady till the end. You didn't hear about the Eagles really until Carson Wentz went down. But then there also, in the middle of that, there was no really great teams. Like teams was just getting knocked out week after week. And there is parity in the NFL, but there was just a lot of trash football too. Like everybody who had high expectations wilted. Like the Steelers, the Cowboys. Sorry, Cowboy fans. Their skins too, but everybody who had high hopes, they didn't come to play, and so you had basically a whole bunch of unknowns. You had look at the teams that was in the playoffs, other than Drew Brees and Tom Brady.
The Jags.
Nobody knew who those guys were. The Jags. Nobody knew who those people were until like the season was late in, and then you do add the people that are boycotting the NFL, and you also had the people who were just not watching for concussion reasons. And
yeah, I mean,
And
I
then
think I
I
was
think
kind
that's it.
of that too. Like in the middle of both of those type of boycotts. Dane, you said something. Actually, I think Jay, you said it also. As far as the Trump distraction, um, I don't think that was the people who voted for Trump. And I'm not. This isn't a podcast about politics, but people who voted for Trump are easily distracted. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that they didn't see what he was doing,
Yeah.
or they did see what he's doing, didn't care because it's just basically yes men.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't think there was any way that he should be like he's legit treating the country like Shark Tank. And it's crazy that it's crazy that the people who are still backing him isn't seeing that. And I think his distraction was he took it off of what it was on and made it about him. And the owners who stood up with him were standing up with him because they didn't want to lose their players. And they also didn't want him telling them what they should do. It's a private owned company.
Right. Yeah. So they didn't stand up for us. So for anything that it stood for, it was you can't tell us what to do. We got money and we got more money than you, sir. So back up off me.
Right.
True.
I.e. Jerry Jones.
It's a $1 billion company. We're not listening to what you're saying, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, a lot of those owners back Trump. So it's hard to figure out where everything stands. And honestly, from a rating standpoint, people were saying, like, as far as boycotting and everything, I don't think you have to. You could, the NFL has diehard fans. And diehard fans in the NFL don't treat the NFL like I'm saying they watch every game. It's 17 weeks in the season. They'll watch 17 weeks of basketball plus the extra football because of fantasy football. That's why the NFL is successful. If there are people who are being casual fans of the NFL, which means they just decided to watch the playoffs, so they may watch 5 or 6 games a season. They just go about their life on a Sunday. Those people who are doing that are affecting the overall ratings of the NFL because it's TV ratings that made them have these contracts.
Right.
And these extra contracts for the NFL owners, these all this money that the NFL is getting, it hasn't resulted in more guaranteed money for a lot of the NFL players, except quarterbacks, basically.
Right.
But I mean, that's some reasons why we're boycotting. But I wanted to touch on one more thing before we got to the people who are boycotting. Trash football in the NFL. Where do y'all think trash football is stemming from?
The Redskins.
I won't deny that, Jay White. I won't. But yeah,
man,
it's just not. I mean, you got no preseason. You got quarterbacks coming in that's running. I don't want to call them gimmicky offenses, but like they're not sitting there waiting. They're expected to play right away, and so you got a lot of coaches that are out here. You had Jeff Fisher, for example, for the longest time. He had what's the dude's name from L.A. The number 1 draft pick, and
Goff.
Goff, and he couldn't do nothing with him. So get a new coach and Sean McVay, and all of a sudden this dude is like getting Pro Bowl honors. So somebody's got to account for the no offense or the no offense sells tickets. We all know that. So you got trash games, you got people getting knocked out, and it's just a slow start to the season. And by the time the season gets good, people have already checked out.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Jay? What do you think causing the trash football?
I don't know. I think the games have just gotten so much slower because of all the things like the commercialization of the NFL. So now, again, you add in the factor of all the replays that happen, the timeouts are longer. Like everything slows the game down. So now we're not as interested or as invested and then the players start to get out of the flow of the game. There's never a constant just go, go, go until they run the 2-minute offense, and then you're completely intrigued, you're engaged, you're watching the game, and so everything starts to flow, and then right after that, they go back to the same way they've been running. So everything slows back down, and you start getting up and doing it. It just takes away what's happening, and then you add in the massive amount of injuries that the guys are having across the league, concussions, also the
major players.
Right, and then the factors of hitting, so guys are pulling up where they would where they would used to just take a guy out. They're pulling up because they're afraid of getting that fine. So, I mean, there's so many factors that's going into how the game has changed overall from what it used to be. That you kind of start to lose interest in what it was that you had before. So,
did you think Thursday Night Football have anything to do with it?
Heck yeah, because it's too much. You're playing on a day, some of these teams play, and then they're right back to playing within a few days. You played on Sunday night, and you playing on Thursday night.
Yeah,
it's Thursday night is the worst football.
And just got Fox just signed a 5-year deal.
Right,
Thursday Night Football.
No, because even the funny thing is, no matter how bad it is, people gonna watch because it's football, and that's why they did it. But it's still garbage. I mean, anybody who really watches football can tell the quality is definitely different from Sunday and Thursdays. But
why do you think people still watch? Just because it's football?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the appetite, and I think it's the hometown. The hometown fan support. Like, I'm interested to see what the ratings are for the people who watch Thursday night outside of the cities that are playing. Like. Yeah. What are those people watching? You know what I mean?
I mean, well, Thursday night's probably down anyway because people just don't they're putting on channels that people don't have. It's not like you just watch it on basic cable.
Right. Thursday night football is on everything now because I want to say it's playing on YouTube now. It's going to be on NFL Network. Who else was playing it? Was it ESPN or was it?
No, it was CBS. Wasn't it CBS and
right. They play
in the NFL Network.
So they play it after week I think it's week 10 is when the CBS starts to come on CBS. So before it's only on the Thursday night network. But I mean, the oversaturation of games is now what's causing them to lose their ratings and their viewers because now you can watch it on 4,000 different platforms and those aren't accounted for. A lot of people have, the little boxes, the Fire Sticks, and those things. So we're watching sports on that. So
absolutely,
those viewers because you're not capturing those numbers. So do I think less people are watching sports? No, I just think less people are watching it in a traditional way, which they're used to capturing.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that's the next big contract that NFL will sign. One of these streaming websites, whether it's YouTube or
they're already
or if NFL makes their own. They are?
I think so.
Yeah, but I don't know if they are. Did they pay them though? That's the question.
I think it's free YouTube. I think it's YouTube Red maybe.
Okay.
The Olympics is on YouTube Live right now, but I think that's free YouTube. Actually, no. You know what? It may be YouTube TV because YouTube TV is different than YouTube Red, which is different than YouTube Free. Like YouTube is becoming a network of sort.
Yeah, YouTube too much.
Yeah.
I think I saw on ABC. I was trying to watch something online the other day, and like one of the regular channels that you used to be able to get with rabbit ears is charging you for online, seeing live TV online. It's like, what? Even if you have a subscription with your cable network. So like we got Verizon Fios, and you can go to live TV on Verizon Fios, and certain things are offered in live TV, and ABC or one of those networks, you still have to pay. They call it like ABC Go or some shit like that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what you mean ABC Go. This is like regular TV back in the day.
Yeah, I think ABC Go, you have to basically prove that you have cable. I don't know if you got to pay for all of them, but you definitely have to prove that you're submitted to the you've got a cable package because I think it's offered through their cable service. But
Yes, but the one I'm talking about, because that's how all of them are. You got to prove that you got a cable.
Yeah.
But the one I'm talking about, even after you prove that, they still require you to have a subscription to them for like $5.99 a month. Like,
that's nonsense.
when I can just watch it on the I just happen to be on the road.
Absolutely, that's nonsense.
Too much.
I'm not endorsing it, but everybody should get a Fire Stick.
I have a Fire Stick. I don't know how to live TV works.
Oh, I'll hook you up. I'll get you hooked up.
Do not. We here at the To the Q podcast.
Yeah, put that disclaimer in there too.
Not endorse pirating of any sort.
That's right.
But we do make up words like piration.
Yeah.
So we touched on boycotters. Y'all think they're gonna boycott next season? Or, I mean, I know it's gonna tail off, but how much? Like, if you had to put a percentage to it, how many people are still gonna boycott next season?
My number would be over under probably 20%.
20% of the people who boycotted this year.
Right, and it'll be more of the stand up, power fist up, and much less of the kneeling at this point.
I totally agree with that. I think the number will diminish significantly, especially the players who. I think the only players that will probably still be boycotting is those who weren't really down with that coalition of players that went and negotiated those funds from the owners. And I think you'll definitely have a significant. You'll have it. I think it'll be less talked about too. So you won't, even if there are protesting, you'll probably not see as much coverage of it. But I think I definitely think what you will see is a lot of people using their platform more to advocate for change, but they won't be protesting on the sidelines as much.
Worst deal ever in the history of deals was what they got for the NFL and post. They got nothing in writing. These guys they gave a bunch of blanket statements of what we'll do with money. They told them nothing exact, no real source and chain set. It's the worst deal I've ever seen. It's literally like you could have just said, "Hi guys, I think we just want you guys to stop and we'll just throw money at it." That's literally what happened.
And that wasn't the issue to begin with. The issue wasn't that the NFL wasn't spending money on helping the community.
Absolutely.
And they act like that the players were protesting against the NFL, and they weren't. The players were protesting to draw attention to the issue.
Right.
It's cool that the NFL is going to help with it, but the NFL, if the NFL is going to help with it, the NFL needs to provide, put their money towards advertising to the issue, not putting money just toward, because the players could be doing the part of putting money towards the people, the victims of the issue between the police and African Americans.
Right.
But the NFL, I mean, you're a billion-dollar company with connects, $100 billion company with connects. So if you want to do something, put that money towards advertising. If you're going to show that you stand with your players, put that advertisement on during your NFL games.
Yeah, right. I think that's bigger.
Yeah, that's something that would help. Money ain't gonna do nothing.
But I think that as the league, it make change. Like they had the same people who have all this power, have all this money, have all the power. So if you want a new law, you want something enacted, like you use your platform to say, hey, look, I run this whole city. Like every place that there's an NFL team, you need to start making changes to laws. You can do that because you have the clout and you have the say so to make these things happen. Because when you want something to happen your way, you walk into somebody's office and you say, hey, I'm the same dude that's paying for you to be in this office. Make this change. But it doesn't benefit them to make that change. So what do? They say, oh, okay, we'll throw, this few millions of dollars here. We make billions of dollars every year. Shoot, I pay you $1 million, but I'm making that much more off of you. So I throw some arbitrary number and you jump at it and I say, okay, game over. So I don't have to hear about you coming back to me about it anymore. Because now we have this number that works for you all.
Yeah, I think that
for their players to stand on the national anthem, they're getting paid for their patriotism. So they're paying you if they're going to pay the players to stand up, basically, to show that patriotism, they're going to put money to that issue to make it look like they're going to. I mean, all of it from a business aspect is. It only takes a small percentage to put. Yeah, exactly. It only takes a small percentage to make a difference. And with that small percentage, I'm talking about if a small percentage of people take that payment as the NFL cares, that's a tick to the ratings that goes up. A tick to the ratings that goes up is going to mean, okay, the issue isn't that big of a deal anymore. The people, it's the more deeper thinking people who are still going to boycott. And that's why I think your 20% that you mentioned is probably spot on. It's probably 20% of people who boycotted last year will boycott this year.
Right.
I didn't boycott the whole season. I really didn't think the boycott until a lot of the injuries started piling up, because it was trash football. 2, you're literally seeing people like cut off years off their life. And it was almost like the people who continue to pile into the Coliseum to see the gladiator fights. And it's like at some point it's just like, all right, I can't watch this. But for me, I mean, I had excuse. The fiance moved in town in April, and it was like we was going to church now on Sundays. He was like, all right, you hungry at church? Let's hit brunch. It was just more interesting things to do to sit there and watch a football game. And I'm gonna be honest with you, even when I was watching whole football games, I fall asleep by halftime. Like it's like a good quarter I'm asleep. So halfway through the second into halfway into the third, I miss a whole quarter. I'm just out. And I mean, that just could be age, but but yeah,
I think it's just too long.
It is.
It's just too long.
Now.
And you got the red zone. You got with the invention of the red zone, there's no reason to watch any football games anymore. Like I could watch all 16 games at the same time. And I don't need to be stuck on my team unless I'm invested on my team. But I'm not. I just need to see the red zone plays. I don't need to be invested in a 3-hour window. And definitely once you got things to do, you be like, man, forget like 3 hours. I don't know. You know, I want to see some of it, but I don't want to be here for everything. Like,
but is red zone only important to you? Is red zone only important to you because of fantasy football?
No, I like football. It helps with fantasy football, but I don't need to be. I'm not invested as like that anymore in football. Period. Just because I just think it's not as a good watch as it used to be. But these are the things I want to see. It allows me to hit all those things at once without being at a bar, without having to go do something I don't want to do. I could just sit here, cycle through all the games at once. Hit all the points, and if there's something I really want to go into, I could just go to that game and watch that game. You know what I mean?
Quick question on football though. Mm-hmm. Tennis. Y'all watched tennis on TV before, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there no graphical thing that tells them whether or not a player got their feet in? You know what I mean? Like when the ball hits on the line in tennis, they can show you what part of the ball hit the line. Because in my mind, a catch, because that was on my list. Like, what's a catch nowadays? A catch is an eye test. You can say it's a catch or not a catch, and you can put it out. You can honestly, you can't do a vote because people are going to be swaying towards one team or the other, and it's betting and all of that stuff. But the referee should be able to do an eye test on whether it's a catch or not. And it's a sideline judge who's no longer important because the replay is going to tell you what happened. So the sideline judge is replaced by the replay. But I'm
interested to hear Jay White's take, because Jay, you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, right?
Oh yeah, that video.
So I really want to hear your take on that, because I know you've been through some catch, non-catch issues in the past years.
There's caught the ball. My man took 3 steps dove and lunged the ball out. Like, what else do you have to do? Like, bro, I've done every football move on earth. I've taken 3 steps. Like, what else does a brother need to do? It's a catch, man. That's why I did. If that want to catch, that is a catch. I don't care.
If it wasn't a catch when we played in the hood, it ain't a catch now. That was a catch. I'm not saying either one of those is a catch, but I'm saying that should be the rule.
That would have been a catch in the hood. That'd have been.
If you willing to scrap for it in the hood, like if that determines a catch in the hood. If you're not willing to scrap for your decision, it's the same as a foul in basketball.
Right.
If you foul the biggest dude on the court, or if the biggest dude on the court fouled you, it depends on a foul in the hood is what are you willing to scrap for to determine whether it was a foul or not. Was
a scrappable catch.
True. I think what you want to know. I guess I heard this question posed, and I don't want to rewrite the narrative of the script here, but I guess I'd throw this question out to you guys. Should referees be interpreting the rules, or just should referees just instead of just calling the game as it's supposed to be called, should they be interpreting the spirit of the rules instead of just calling the game? Because we can all say, "Here, this is a catch by the rule book," and read the rule book. But I'm like, if I see a catch, I know what a catch is. And I think you got 6 guys on the field who are all looking at these booths and these monitors. Can't they tell us, okay, yo, that's a catch. Oh, that's not a catch. I mean, you're seeing it in real time, super slow motion. Like, dude, you got everything.
I think it's going to be the latter, but there's going to be people like Belichick who's going to take the latter and be like, nah, this is the rule book. I have the rule book. It says that this, and he's going to be right. But I honestly think, like, seriously, how quickly do we get a prompt to our phone that we can, like, even on Instagram right now, if you can do like polls on Instagram and you can hit like one or the other and it gives you immediate results for it.
Right.
Like if they going all the way to New York for replay decisions in basketball and they're doing it live, I don't understand why they can't have a non-biased panel who can see the replay and make a judgment on it and not just be it.
Money. Nobody wants to spend the money because you could put a New York person or a person in the rule book at every game. And knock this out.
Plays to do it. Like, if it's on a delay, like, get me something live from the field, because your phones ain't on that delay. Like,
true.
Seriously, York or whoever, wherever NFL headquarters is, they should be able to see the replay, and make a decision. If they're not good enough to make decisions quicker because you're losing fans, then they need to be fired and somebody else get in there and do that.
Right. I think people having to look at it, man. Like, man, it's a live game. And I think with all the replays and all the stuff going on, now we question everything that happens. So now all the rules are being so oversaturated. It's like, okay, this is
every touchdown, every turnover, replay.
Every single thing. So now we extended the game from 3 hours to 3.5, 4 hours. Now you're losing me. I was good and I was with it. I'm just gonna wait till red zone says, "Hey man, you're about to do a touchdown."
Yes, exactly. Red zone cut away from the comeback. Yeah.
Exactly. Cut away, get a decision, and come back.
Can you imagine being at those games?
Son,
I went to one. Went to one this year. I was like, man.
Yeah, it's gotta be awful. Don't let it be cold or something else. You just in that joint mad.
Right, and then at the game, you don't get to see the replay play over and over. You don't know how long it takes. You just staring at the field and watching stuff happen. You just know that.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely, it's worse.
I'm dancing.
It's so much worse because they go to a TV timeout during the game, and then people just standing around.
Right.
And if you have really one of those games, everybody's standing, and you're always standing, and so you're standing waiting for an answer. And you're like, it's cold, man. Can the beer guy come back? Can somebody with some hot dogs come back? Because you just left. You just left there. You like, man, come on, man. Like, for real, can we speed this up? But
look,
what sport has the best live thing? I thought it was hockey.
Well, yeah, hockey. They check theirs quick. They be like, "Look, it's a goal. Get out the way. Move it."
Yeah, and they always got something going on too.
Yeah, and they got a running clock like most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's
like soccer. Soccer, you in and out.
They just start fighting if they ain't got nothing else going on.
That's true. That's true. That running clock is not a bad idea.
No, it's a good idea.
No, it's not a bad idea. I'm saying it's good. It's a great idea. Be like, yo,
come on,
let's keep this moving. Absolutely.
And soccer, they do the whole running clock, and then they do additional time in the end.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Up to 4 minutes,
and that's only based on the head judge and his time. So if he didn't stop his watch, then he run.
Absolutely.
So, just because you sat for 10 minutes, don't mean he's gonna put 10 minutes back. He'd be like, "Nope, you get 2 minutes. Call it a day."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think these
years.
I just don't think I just don't think every call is a game deciding call, and I think that's probably something that they should look at too. Like every catch ain't if you ain't reviewing touchdowns, that's it. Like, what are we talking about here? You know, it's not. You should know whether it's a catch or not. Boom. But it's none of these things should. If it's not deciding the outcome of the game, I don't think they should just spend that much time on it. And we could debate about what is the outcome or what is the pivotal point. But I'm like, if you take all the miscellaneous, you know, the minute calls out, you know, you can focus on the end zones and the scoring plays or final 2-minute drives or whatever, and just let that be where you review, and then take everything else out.
Stop getting it wrong.
All right, last question on football. Let's wrap it up. I had a friend on Facebook. He went to A&T with us. Aggie Pride, everybody.
Aggie Pride.
Worldwide.
He has said that he believes college sports has more parity than pro sports. I agree with basketball, sort of, to an extent, but I don't agree with football at all. What about you guys?
Dane?
Was he drinking Aggie tea or something when he was making that?
He is a Cowboy fan. and
so he's delusional. There you go.
Cowboy and Panther fan.
Okay. No, I definitely think
Panthers lost too.
Oh no, I think it's definitely. I think if anything has no parity in all the major sports in America, is college football. Because look at all these blue blood programs that keep coming back. You have your Alabamas, you have your Ohio States, you have your Michigans and your Georgias. Like there's hardly any turnover as far as institutes in college football. Like I think more so in college basketball, I agree with you, Terrence, because if you can ball, it don't matter. If you can get 5 guys who can ball, you can get them. Not everybody's got the grades, and you could get into the tournament and you can get to the NBA, you can get shine. But like, I think college football players, especially those who are trying to make the NFL, they're only going to the top programs and to the top schools so they can get shine, so they can get drafted, so they can get into the NFL. And if I'm the best quarterback in the nation and I can make any team better, I'm not going to a D3 school. There's no point in me doing that. So, because if I go to a D3, my skills and my talent is going to be looked upon to a lesser level, and I might be great, and I'm not going to get TV shine, and I'm not going to get pub. So why? Because there's no, I guess, dispersion of talent in college football. I don't think you'll ever get that much parity. Plus, the NFL, everybody's got the same cap. Everybody's got an opportunity to change their roster year after year. So that's why there is more parity, because basically everybody's playing with the same set of rules and the same stacked deck. So it's all about what you want to do and what your team wants to do to make things change for their team. Like if your team wants to be great, they can do it, but they have the same chances and the same resources as everybody else. They just got to find the talent.
It takes a better team and a better system to win in football, though. In basketball, you can have because I'm just gonna do a disclaimer and say I'm 100% a basketball fan. That's my favorite sport to watch, my favorite sport to follow, everything. So I'm watching the kids coming up in high school right now in basketball, and even some that are just getting to high school. They have so many they already have mixtapes. They already have group names like the Jelly Fam and stuff like that. And they can make a decision to go to the same college and make noise. And they can just make noise by just being 2 or 3 of them together, being the class that you remember USC was big on the map one year, and they were only big on the map one year because
yeah, Matt Leinart, Lendale White, and Reggie Bush.
Basketball.
Not football.
Oh, basketball. Okay.
We had
because Master P's son decided to go there.
Yeah.
And it was the same time that I think it was, did Nick Young go there?
No, not Nick Young. I know you're talking about. It's not Nick Young. I don't think it was Nick Young. I think it was another dude though.
It wasn't DeMar DeRozan, right?
No. Oh man, I know who you're talking about.
But the point is that with these different families now that they're making based on AAU connections and stuff like that, like people can decide to go to the same school and make a difference. Like and it only takes one player in the NBA.
DeMar DeRozan, you're right.
Basketball, it was DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
It only takes one player in basketball on a team to make somewhat of a difference. And if that player is great and your team still lose, a la the number 1 pick last year, Markelle Fultz in Washington. And
come on, man.
I know he's from here. I know he's from Manhattan. But what I'm saying is, like Trae Young this year.
Yeah.
Trae Young, I seen Trae Young playing for like the last 2 or 3 years on YouTube. And he's in Oklahoma. You don't know nobody else on his team. But Oklahoma is on the map because of that one player. Right. I didn't watch Texas before KD was there. Like, so in the NBA, it don't matter. I mean, in college basketball, it doesn't matter what the team is. A player can make the difference in the team. I don't agree with the D3. You can't be D3 and still get to the NBA. I just don't think that happens. I have seen it happen. You can be overseas. Yeah. Because if you're not gonna be D1, just go overseas. True. Because you have a better chance by being one of those two and getting drafted overseas or D1 than being a D3 player. And most of like the G League, I don't know why they changed it from D to G, but most of the G League is like your D1 players who just got hops. Like everybody in the G League got hops, and that's it. If they could shoot, they'd be in the NBA.
Right.
To answer the question part that my friend was commenting on, in football, and Jay, you were saying this earlier, I don't think that there's parity there in football. I think it's fake parity. So I don't think, like right now, there's a Final Four in football, and there's also a Final Four in basketball. The difference is the Final Four in basketball, you may get one team that's a what they call them, a mid-major.
A mid-major.
You get one mid-major who makes it. Because it's a one-off game, and pretty much in one basketball game, any team can win.
Right.
Because everybody's shot on your team can be off that one day, or if you rely on 1 or 2 players, they could be off. They could get hurt. Whatever the case may be, it's not the same as football where you got a whole team that has to be terrible, like 22 players plus the bench. You know, you're talking about a rotation probably of 8-9 players.
Exactly.
So in basketball, it's still usually chalk. You're not going to, I mean, the big story for us here was George Mason when they made it to the Final Four and they was making noise. I had a homeboy in middle school who was playing on that team, Lamar Butler, and it was like, that was like amazing that they made it to that. And then you had Butler, who should no longer be considered a mid-major.
But they are.
They are.
They are to a lesser extent, but they on the map now. It's like once you hit that point where you on the map, you're no longer a mid-major. But I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. And what's his name coaching at Butler? Now I'm watching them now.
Brad
Boston.
Stevens.
Yeah, he was at
Yeah,
Butler.
Brad Stevens. Yep.
So they even hiring coaches from college mid-majors to be NBA coaches.
Right.
So it's like, no, I don't believe that. And just going to the NFL, go to the pros real quick. NBA, no parity. No parity in the NBA.
No.
NFL, that is why the NFL, to me, that's why they're so popular. Is because every team feels like they had a shot at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Because injuries play a role in the NFL, free agency plays a role in the NFL, drafting the worst team gets the best pick in the NFL. Whereas in college, that's not the case. It's on recruiting, and recruiting is based on if their favorite player played for your team. If your team was successful last year, all of that stuff adds into recruiting. It's not the same in the pros. In the pros, the worst team gets the best pick.
Right.
But basketball, because it's a best of 7 series, there's no parity. If basketball had a best of 3 or a best of or a one-off, then it would be parity.
I missed the 3. I missed the best of 5s in the first rounds. Those were good.
Yeah, because there was a lot of good teams who lost in the first round.
Exactly.
So, but NFL, your college football will never have that parity for that exact reason. All the best players, the best athletes go to the best programs. One, because they have more money, they have better facilities, they're able to take care of
quarterback.
Right. So like those things are always going to be the case. Like if everybody who runs a 4-2 or a 4-3 goes to all these top programs, everybody else under that clearly doesn't run that. So you're going to get your 4-4s and 4-5s are somewhere else. So it's always going to be outran or outworked. So then they're going to get the better facilities, which means the guys get bigger, faster, stronger because they have all this means and access to things. But the NFL is the top players, all those same top players now all in the same thing. They're all in the league. Now they're all getting the same equipment. They're using these same pieces. That parity is there because, hey, look, you all were the top players at your position. Now, not only do you run this 4-3, but everybody beside you who's like 250 pounds more than you also runs that same 4-3. And it's like, you can't get away from it. So the parity is always going to be in the NFL over college football. But I 100% agree that basketball, because it's your individual talent shines a lot more than what it does in the higher sports. It's always going to be much more parity in college basketball than it will be in the NBA.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
So
I agree with that point too. I agree with that point too, Jay, because one person or one position, just like Terrence alluded to, Trae Young can change the game even with 4 other people on the court. And just him hitting a bunch of threes could change the outcome of a game. One person has more of an impact on one player has more of an impact on one single game or at the outcome of the game versus the other versus national football. But I wanted to let you guys know, I saw this thing on ESPN. I think it was ESPN, but now they're doing these AAU 7-on-7s.
Yep.
And I think that will change. That will be like the new let's get together and play for the same school type deal. And so you're going to have like people that go to these camps that's going to say, oh, my boy's going to Florida. Oh, let's all go to Florida and let's flip the script on Florida. You know what I mean? Oh, let's all go to Alabama. Let's flip the game on. If you're going to recruit us, recruit my boy too, and we can, build these super teams. So I think that's going to happen. I think that's going to come in the near future. And you're going to see a lot of these kids. They're all going to, and like you were saying too, Jay, if you're not going to Alabama, you're going to go play the school that plays Alabama so that you can get shine too. Because if Alabama's roster is already filled up, okay, let me go play against them. So at least I can shine. So even if I'm not winning these games, I can still get what I want out of the sport to get to the next level.
Right. So we mentioned college football in that segment pretty much. Right now, college football has a Final Four, and everyone everyone is the college football playoff. So everyone thought before that the issue with the college football playoffs is the importance of bowl games. Now, that may be true because I have not paid attention to a bowl game other than the college football playoff. But I honestly don't even like college football like that. But I watch the Final Four.
Right.
Do you think how long do you think it'll be until they go to 18? Do you think it's a good idea? Let's start with you, Dane.
I think they will go to 18 playoffs probably at the end of this contract, which is like I think it's up in 2020. I think they'll try to push up because it's a greedy thing. They're gonna realize, oh, we can make more money, we can make more. There's always more to be gained, more sponsors, more TV contracts. Okay, let's get this out there. Personally, I feel like they should just dissolve NCAA football altogether. Collapse this whole fraud institution of student athletes and just make it a minor league sport. Seriously, like, what are we talking about here? These dudes is not going to school. They all want to make it into the NFL. Just tear down the NCAA as far as football is concerned. Make it a minor league thing, just like NBA, and have these schools, if they want to partner with these minor league teams, or each school has a minor league team. But let's not pretend that we're doing college football. It's a money-making thing. So let's just be straight and upfront about it. And that way you don't have to worry about, because all these schools are going to say, oh, let's not go to 8 because, these guys are in school and it's going to affect their schooling or whatever. Like, let's just stop pretending that it's school-based and just make it a minor league team. Then you can go to 8 or 16 if you want to. You can make the whole season a playoff. Let's not pretend that their biggest reasons for not going to 8 is because, it's too much on the kids, and you got to worry about these students and all. These kids not even worried about going to school. So take that element out of it. Just make it a minor league system, and you can go to 8, but an 18 playoff. Just make it minor league football.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't make it minor league, other than the only reason they won't call it minor league is because minor league has like a farm system of a professional team attached to that minor league team. But you're just basically just saying make it another professional league, make it a college professional league. But
Absolutely.
they're looking at it like Pandora's box, though. Once you do it for football, you're gonna have to do it for other stuff.
I mean, they should. The only difference I would say is basketball. There's more opportunities. You don't have to go to college to get discovered. Like you guys say, you can go overseas. There's many. You can sit out for a year if you're that good, and you'll still get drafted.
Go to football. Right,
you have to go to school to get into the draft, and so because you're not making that a legit, you're basically using the NCAA as your minor league farm system to get these players. So like you're already in bed with the NCAA as far as you're recruiting their product to go into the NFL. So stop calling these student athletes. I mean, it wasn't really until I started seeing this thing up close. I'm like, these dudes don't go to school. They're not in any classes that matter. Like that anybody can say, I'm going to go get a job. So like, why are you worried about, why are they so concerned with the student part of the athlete? And they're there to play football. Just let them play football.
So hold on.
Let them.
Dang, real quick.
Yeah.
Because I do want to dive into that too, into this topic. But before that, I want to get Jay answer. Before we go into professional paying the athletes, basically, because I used to have a stance on that too, as a person who paid for their college education. But Jay, do you think they're going to go to 8 teams? And when do you think it's a bad idea to go to 8 teams?
So I think if they'll do an 18, it still won't happen for another, let's say another 10 to 20 years. How long did
Really?
they had the BCS championship? It went from what 90, the end of the 98 season from 99 to 2014.
Right.
So that's a good, what, 16 years, 15,
Yep.
16. So they use that same program. So what they're going to do is use this same mantra and get all the money out of this until, people complain about, oh, no, there's no this, there's no that, blah, blah, blah. But what has to happen is if they go to an 8-team system, that means games have to fall off earlier in the season. That
Right.
means that's a 6 schedule so that people have their divisional rounds and all that stuff before these things happen. So at this point, it doesn't benefit them because they want to have all these games and have all the teams have their home games. Everybody get enough in so they can get all the money grab that you want. And then they say, all right, now everything after this is ours. All these bowl season is basically ours to capture on. We're going to put you all over the place, and then we're going to make the grab off all this. And then, of course, we're going to have the Big Four, which is the easiest because it's only, you play 2 games.
2 games, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to worry about making some ridiculous schedule.
It's really one extra game, right?
Right.
It's really one extra game.
That's it. Play one, so they play a team and they have one final game. But if they do 8, that means you have to play. You have 4 games happening. Then you got another 2 games. Then you have 1 game. So now you've added 5 more games on top of the 2 that you already had. So it's not for right now. It just doesn't behoove because now they have to find these facilities and other bowl games and other means for them to capture this money and this TV ratings and all that stuff to keep people while the other sports are still happening and ramping up into their heavier season because now you're encroaching on the NFL in its playoffs and its Super Bowl primetime season. So this is their big season that you're going to now start tapping into, and that's when you have the head-to-head matches. So
I'm going to say I agree with you. I'm going to say that they are going to eventually go to it. I don't think it's a good idea. I think 4 is a sweet spot for football.
Right.
Basketball, the tournament is perfect. Football, you can oversaturate the number of playoff games because even the NFL wild card weekend is okay, but it's like it's really the final 4. Actually, it's the final 8 in football that I care about. But the wild card round is garbage for the most part. Jumping back,
kinda.
Yeah.
Only reason why I say kinda because you got the Green Bay one year, you got the Giants the other year who actually wild card teams or they played in a wild card game and they went on a run to win.
That's a good point because I think the wild card teams have been better than the games.
True.
And those 2 examples are the examples because a wild card team can make it all the way. They can, and that's only the case because it's a one-off game.
Yes,
right.
Which I mean, the NFL is a good ratio in the NFL though. It's 32 teams, right?
Yeah,
right.
And it's 8 teams who make it to the playoffs. So it's 8 teams, right? Who make it to the playoffs?
Yeah.
It's
4 and 2. Yep. No, 12.
Yes, that has to be 12. I think it is.
Yeah, 12.
Make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, you got each division. You only have 6 games played, but each division sends 4 with 2 wild cards. So yeah,
12 out of 32.
Yeah,
it's not a bad ratio. It's not a bad. I wouldn't mind seeing 8. But I don't know how you would work that out. I mean, it's good that I would leave the NFL alone. The NFL works. NFL playoffs work. College football, I think the 4 teams works in college football. I don't think there's another team that we could add in which would make it more interesting. Honestly, when I saw Alabama make it over the other team who they were trying to get in there, I knew they were going to make it to the championship.
Right.
Absolutely.
When they jumped
over. Yeah.
Did Alabama win this year? They lost.
Yeah. They won.
Yeah. So once they made the end, I kind of knew they were going to win it. So it was just like, okay. Even though they lost last year, but the same type of players weren't there this year.
Right.
True. My only pushback on that, Terrence, is I think that there's no sweet spot in the NCAA because there's too many divisions and there's too many conferences, and so someone always feels left out because you got like 5 Power 5 conferences, but you're only sending 4. So someone's always going to feel like, oh, we're on the outside looking in. That will be the clamor to go to 8. But that's what I'm saying. If you dissolve the whole NCAA thing and make it just 4 power conferences, let's say you keep the same NCAA structure, but you probably got to collapse some conferences just so you can find that sweet spot in the 4, so that nobody feels like I didn't have an opportunity to win. That's gonna always be my thing is, as you go, unless you have a clamor for, oh, we went undefeated and we still didn't get a chance to be in the mix. That's when you're gonna have the issue to push to 8. But right now, people are knocking people off, so obviously that's the clamor is very small. But as schools get better, you'll have more undefeated teams sitting at that 5 spot, saying, "Oh, well, we didn't get a shot. We got jumped over because Alabama plays a better strength of schedule," and all that. All these other things play into the mix. To me, that's why I think the whole thing's a fraud, because Alabama will always play a harder schedule than South Florida. So South Florida can go 13-0 from now until the end of time, and they'll never get into the playoffs. Like, I agree. Come on.
But I don't think letting them in the playoffs is not going to get them whooped.
Right. No, I agree. I totally agree. But I'm just saying, like, but then what's the point of playing if I'm never going to get into the playoffs? But how am I as a small school, or even a school that's trying to go or gain this parity? How am I ever going to get people here? It's like, okay, we're going to go 13-0. We're going to bust up these people in our conference. We're going to beat Auburn, and Auburn's going to beat Georgia, and all these things are still going to happen and align themselves, but we'll still never get a chance. That's all people going to want, a chance.
Alabama on your schedule.
I like the sound. I do like the South Florida argument this year. Only reason I like the South Florida argument this year is not that I think they win, but if you beat Auburn beats Alabama, and Alabama lost to Georgia and Auburn, it's like, what? Who else I got to beat? Who else I got to play?
Yeah.
But that's a one-off. That's just a one-off, though. So.
Tell Alabama to sign Ante up. Yo, we ready.
That's the argument too, Jay, because people gonna be like, "Yo, AT went undefeated. So what? Like, how many times? I got to move into a different conference. You got to play this whole political NCAA game so you can get shine. That's why people move into conferences that they don't even belong in.
But let's be real though. Like, if they move into those conferences, they will get crushed.
Of course, you will get crushed because the talent disparity in talent is consolidated to those power schools. But as you get better, your hope is, the longer you're in there, the better you'll become. I mean,
Maryland went to the Big Ten, and Maryland continues to get handled by the Big Ten.
Because they should have never. Because they're trash. But eventually, that stuff will even out. But how long it's going to take? That's
I don't think there's a solution for that, because if you do and the fear is that if you do a playoff game where you're putting South Florida against Alabama, there's going to be kids out there getting their ass whooped.
True, but then here's why I agree and disagree with that. What it takes to beat an Alabama, South Florida has. Like, you can beat Alabama, but you can't beat Alabama playing like Alabama. Oh, we're gonna run the foot. You can't play. You can be a Georgia and beat an Alabama, but you can't be anybody else. You can't be like, oh, we're gonna run the football and throw on play action. You gonna have to just run. You're gonna have to do the Deshaun Watson, the whole Cam Newton thing, where you just playing fast, up tempo, have a quarterback who can run, and you have to sling the football around the field. That's the only way to beat an Alabama team. But if you never play them, you can't expose that. You know what I'm saying? You'll never get to expose those traditional teams because there's no way I can convince either of you right now that somebody's going to beat Alabama from any other conference other than the SEC.
Correct.
Right.
So, but I would submit to you that there are other teams out there who could beat it in a one-off game. They can beat an Alabama. I don't know who. I'm not confident in my college football knowledge to tell you who that is. But I definitely think there are faster teams. There are teams who play a up-tempo style that could give Alabama a run.
Speed is the only way you can do it.
But none of those teams play in the SEC though.
The only team who could do it would be a team who hires Andy Reid as their coach,
or Chip Kelly.
Only recruit speed, and it would have to be something like that, where a bunch of people decide to go to his school, to go to his team because he got an inside track with NFL coaches.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just not going to happen where you got power going against speed, because the speed that you're talking about is relative. Like you're talking maybe you're talking a team who maybe has a quarterback who has a 4.4 40, or maybe a receiver who has a 4.4 40, versus a whole team who got 4.5 40s.
You're right.
4.5 40. That ain't enough of a disparity to not get their heads knocked off.
But in a one, here's my thing. In a one game playoff, all I need is Cam Newton. In a one game playoff, all I need is Deshaun Watson. I don't need. Yeah. But that's
1 year.
But see, to me though, but check this out. Nobody really gave Clemson. Clemson was always that other team, but now they're starting to get.
They had a big ass team. They were big.
Yeah, they had absolutely. But what I'm saying is, before that, they were always nipping at the heels of the SEC, and nobody really took them that seriously until they started beating the Alabamas, or at least started playing them and giving them close games. Now people want to go to Clemson, and it just takes so much. To your point, J2, it just takes so much time to build programs that, of course, you're not going to see parity in college football for a long time, because there's just not enough talent dispersed. And I think that's what the difference is between the football and the basketball. In football, there's just not enough time to get the talent and build the programs to where it matters. Because by the time you build the program, the guy's he's only staying for 3 years, and then he's going to the pros. You're not collecting talent.
Do you count Clemson as parity?
I don't. I count them now, not before. But I think it took Dabo a long time to get that thing going. You know what I mean? Because they were
parity.
The Eagles?
Yeah, they have to be. The Eagles have to be.
I would put them up there.
Definitely.
I would put them up there. But yeah, I would put them up there.
The reason I asked about the Eagles is because the New England Patriots and the Alabama Crimson Tide are looked at in the same manner. Football itself has two dynasties happening right now. Is the Patriots and the Crimson Tide. And because of that, you're always going to have strong players going to those teams. The difference is in the NFL, there's a salary cap.
Right.
The salary cap in the NFL is what creates the parity in the NFL.
Correct.
Whereas in college football, that's not the case. So there I can see your point in thinking that it should be a pay-to-play kind of a thing. And if it is a pay-to-play kind of a thing, then it has to be a salary cap in order for it to work, because Alabama's still going to have more money than South Florida.
True.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I agree. All of that for that to happen. But you know what? With the NCAA, it's going to take them just as long to put that together as it is for parity to happen.
Yeah.
True. But I think that's one of, like you mentioned, that's also one of the things that makes these conferences. SEC football is like top notch. Big Ten football is top notch, but it ain't SEC. Like the resources that are being funneled in for that is never going to be on SEC level, with the exceptions of your Ohio States. You know what I mean? Or your Michigans.
Yep.
But everybody else, but the rest of the conference is trash. You know, maybe you got Iowa in there at some point in time, but it's trash for the most part. So you'll never. I think the parity in NCAA football comes with the program, comes with the coaches, not really with the programs or the football players itself. Because I asked myself this question: what if Nick Saban went to a HBCU? Let's just say, like,
which one would he go?
Let's say he went to A&T, for example. Let's just say he went there. Would North Carolina A&T ever play for a championship?
In the NCAA championship?
Yeah.
No. Can they?
I don't think so. I don't think so personally, but I think they would rise. I think they would rise to the ranks where teams in that that committee would look at them differently and say, "Oh, we have to at least put these guys to play better teams." You know what I mean? So
yeah,
and I think that's why I think because of who these coaches are and because of who these programs are, they can't be parity, because we'll always say we'll always put Rutgers over. Nobody. As terrible as you'll always put Rutgers over some Grambling or A&T, just because they're in a different conference, and you'll say, "Oh well, they play a harder schedule," but maybe Rutgers is trash. But we will never know. You know what I mean?
No, they're trash. You know that.
Oh, Rutgers is trash. I believe it. They need to be regulated out of the Big Ten for real.
They're in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they're in the Big Ten. That's why Maryland is in last place.
Right. All right. So yeah. I'm gonna save the pay for play conversation for another week. Okay. I like the mix we got going, so we definitely gonna do more recordings. Switching over to the NBA. The question I have marked down that I'm not so sure is a good question at the moment. The focus now switches to the NBA and college basketball. What do you think will be the biggest eye-catching things for new watchers this year? So when we talked a little bit pre-show, and my thought was that now the conversation was going to be about how trash, and trash is a harsh word for what they were, but
it's an appropriate word.
I mean, the Cleveland Cavaliers was still in third place, so I was thinking how trash Cleveland is.
But they were getting blowed. I think I'm only saying because they were getting blowed out. Like they were getting ran off the court in like third quarter games. Yeah, by good teams.
At the same time, OKC had almost a 50%. They were like around 500. And they were like 5-0 at one point against the good teams, against Houston, Cleveland, Warriors. They were 5-0 against them, and San Antonio.
Right.
But they were still around a 500 record. So I guess record wasn't showing it. It was your eye test on how they were playing against good teams.
Right.
True.
But Sarah Spain.
I love Sarah.
ESPN would tell you that the story so far is LeBron, because she is one of the biggest LeBron haters I've heard on the radio. Hold on. Is Jalen Jacoby off?
Nah, they're not off.
What time
I see that. I don't know, but I see their I think they're switching it up. Like some people are now on, like Ryan Russillo does a podcast. So I don't know if Jalen Jacoby moved to a different time slot or they just not putting them on air, but they still got a podcast that I see come up here all the time. So
Sarah Spain is one of the biggest LeBron haters I've heard on the radio. She's on the radio every day. And it's like today they were talking about how is LeBron not the issue. Like at the beginning of this, actually, they were talking about on the NBA channel on Sirius XM. They were talking about who MVP would be right now.
Oh, this was on First Take too.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't watch First Take, but they were talking about it's a toss up right now between LeBron and James Harden. So the argument they were making on the radio was that at the beginning, Sarah Spain was saying, I think it was Sarah, at the beginning of the year, everyone thought that Cleveland would be number one in the East. And they've done nothing but under-deliver on that all season. And they were like, how all of it, Sarah, no, this is what Sarah was actually saying. The first one was some other dude. Sarah was like, how is LeBron, like LeBron, if he's interested in playing, when he's engaged, he's the best player in the world, blah, blah, blah. How all of a sudden is he more engaged in playing now that he has a new team? And now it's all about him. He's engaged in playing. Whereas the team he had before, you know, it was so tough for him to get engaged in games and play with them. That team that they had before they made these trades was trash. It was going to be trash at the beginning of the year, and everybody who said that they would be first in the East didn't know what they were talking about.
Fair.
You can't just add IT. All of their players were players who had specialties that did not fit a team, which is why their team was willing to trade them. Like IT is like my size, and he plays in the NBA. So I'm like,
yeah.
IT was the last pick in the NBA draft.
Mm-hmm.
You may have 3 seasons or 2 seasons or 1.5 seasons where you catch people by surprise because you got a chip on your shoulder and you hitting shots. You know, you performing at the end of the games. You're shooting from further away, so you don't have. He was still the most. He had his shot blocked more than any other people in the league last year, and couldn't guard anybody.
Right.
Couldn't guard anybody last year. So you're playing on a team now where you're not dominating the ball. And when you're holding the ball, you're taking it out of LeBron's hands. That's not going to work on that team. Who else did they bring on the team? The only person who worked that they brought on the team before the trade was Jeff Green.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
Still one of my favorite players. Jay Crowder came with IT.
Jay Crowder. What does Jay Crowder do well?
I think he defends well.
The player, defensive player.
Yeah, I think he's like a
3D player.
Yes, he's a poor man's Bruce Bowen.
I would put him on a level.
Bowen.
I would say Trevor Ariza.
Okay, a poor man's Trevor Ariza. Yeah.
I would say he's on the level of defending of Trevor Ariza, but not as long as Trevor Ariza, but stronger than Trevor Ariza, but can't shoot the 3 as good as Trevor Ariza.
It's true.
So, I mean, he doesn't do anything great. Like, if you had to give him a grade on defense and 3-point shooting, he'd be a B on defense and he'd be a B- on 3-point shooting.
C.
He did. Y'all less likes than I am.
Nah, no curves here.
Let's look at the makeup of Cleveland wasn't gonna work, not because of people's like the talent wasn't there. Like
they were.
The issue with Cleveland is that whenever you step to Cleveland's team, you have to automatically be in a subservient role. Like you automatically have to little yourself, make yourself smaller. But you had people like IT who were continually trying to establish himself. He couldn't make himself any smaller because he was already fighting out of that stigma to get to the place where he was. You had Jay Crowder who was trying to set his game up, who was trying to elevate his game. You can't get into that situation where you're on the uptick and you go to a team and immediately you have to step down from all of that. And then IT came off injured.
That's true. And I think the big difference between Miami when LeBron was there was that the people who were there, and even the Cleveland team of last year, the role players got there through free agency.
Right.
except for J.R. Smith and somebody else who came from New York. Old boy who married old girl.
Shumpert.
Yeah, Shumpert. Like they were the only ones traded to the team. And Kevin Love, but I don't know that wasn't last year. That was the year before. But the point that I think you're making a good point, Jay, is that those players chose to come to Cleveland. These players this year was traded to Cleveland, with the exception of who was the guy who
D-Wade
and Rose.
It was Rose who chose to go there.
Yeah. Right. Wade chose to go there too because he was in Chicago and then he got bought out and then he
got bought out.
Signed. Yeah.
Right. But we all knew that.
They had bad foot speed. Like their team was slow as hell.
Absolutely.
Right. So, I mean, it just wasn't going to work. It was all set up not to work. Now they're a younger, more talented team. I'm just like, aside. We'll see what it does after the All-Star break. I'm not gauging what the date when I know everybody else is out here like, bro, I'm just trying to get my win and get through this break, and then we can play basketball again. Like that.
Y'all think So y'all think Cleveland is the thing that everybody will be paying attention to? Who casual NBA fans who are just now watching is probably Cleveland, because everyone knows what Golden State is doing, even though they're losing 0-2 right now.
Yes, it's not even Cleveland. It's always it's LeBron James league, and I hate to sound like these dudes that I listen to, but it's a LeBron James league. Whatever he does, whatever script he's writing, it's all on him every time. And he moved. No, the problem is he moves the needle in the smaller things that he does more than the greater things that every other person or every other team does. Like Golden State could be straight thrashing people, but if LeBron James is fussing, that's going to lead to Sports Center. It ain't going to be Golden State, no matter what. And because he's the star that everybody knows, or that everybody, like the average person can't name the rest of the dudes that got traded to Cleveland or whoever's on Cleveland. They can name LeBron James.
LeBron
you can talk to. You said what?
LeBron probably don't know their names. He just like,
yeah, exactly. He calls them numbers. Number 2, number 3. That's it. But everybody else, like you can't even go. Everybody knows LeBron James. The casual fan knows LeBron James because he's a great story and he's the best player in the world. But
Steph just took the weakest charge of all time.
You said what?
Steph just took the weakest charge I ever seen, man.
Oh gosh. Yeah, but I don't know. You said who?
No, I said when was Steph fall off? So I included college basketball in this question, but I don't know that anybody's gonna pay attention to college basketball until March, honestly.
Right. People are watching
right now. Go ahead, Jay.
I said people are watching Trae Young. They're watching just to see what Trae Young, because of all the talk about how he looks like Steph Curry. I mean,
yeah,
my man shoot from once he crosses half court, he might pull it right there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be real with you. I haven't seen an Oklahoma game this year.
Bruh,
I saw one. I saw the Kentucky one. That was it.
I saw highlights of one game when he had like 10 turnovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the beginning of the season, the dude that I've been watching in college basketball is old boy at who he at? Michigan State.
Oh, you talking about
he looked like he about 40. It's a player from Michigan State and it's a player for Kentucky. Both of them look like they
wow.
And the Kentucky one
Oregon looked like they got 2 creative players who are the same people. I think they both from Africa. They look like the same person. I don't think nobody's gonna pay attention to college basketball much.
Nah, I think it's just too much. It's always, well, number one, it's too much going on. But I mean, I think as like baseball, college basketball is going to become a regional thing where people are just invested at gambling times during the tournament, and you're going to know about the schools in your area. But as far as unless, and I hate to say it, but like storylines drive NCAA sports too. So unless there's a perfect team or like the perfect, the unbeatable team or somebody who's like a star like Trae Young,
Yeah.
nobody, because I mean, you got people who are trying to hype up local teams and stuff like that, but it just don't get the shine.
Right.
There's
Even
no
though I think those
perfect
are better
team.
games. Yeah.
Isn't Virginia number one?
Yep. Virginia's number one.
Yep.
They just lost. Yeah.
They just lost to Virginia Tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, college basketball going to just take a seat for a little bit. Yeah, I haven't seen Trae Young play yet, but I'm gonna try to catch one of his games. I've seen his mixtape from high school, but I've seen his mixtape from college too, but I haven't seen him play in college yet. But I think you're right, Jay. He's probably the main story in college
Yep.
basketball right now, even though he won't be the number one pick next year.
Nah. Isn't it going to be that dude from Missouri?
No, my dude from more than likely is going to be the player
Or
out
Bagwell?
Bagwell. And then you can look at
Oh.
Bamba and all the other guys.
Who y'all talking about? The dude from Duke?
Sorry, is it Bagley? Bagley from Duke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. Yeah, Bagley and Duke. What y'all think about who y'all think in the West going to challenge OKC? I mean, not OKC. Who y'all think in the West going to challenge
Golden State.
Golden State, yeah.
Houston's playing anti or the we can beat Golden State basketball. That's exactly what their game is built around. Do everything we can to play better Golden State basketball than Golden State. They shoot
absolutely
volume. They barely play defense, but they run quick, and then they have pick and roll all day. It's a game around out Golden State.
I totally agree with that.
You know what makes Houston so tough is their rotation. And it's not the players in their rotation. It's how their rotation is coached.
Right.
So Houston has a starting lineup that plays as a starting lineup for probably a fewer amount of time than any team in the league. Because they start the game and then quickly Chris Paul goes to the bench.
Right.
So it's normal on an NBA team for your second star to start the second quarter. And your second star will play with the bench until your first star comes on, and then your second star goes to the bench for a rest, and then he'll finish the quarter. So that's the normal rotation in the NBA. The rotation with Houston is that they have both Paul and Harden start the game, and then Paul will go out in the middle of the first quarter, pretty much. Harden will play the whole first quarter. Harden to sit the second quarter, and then Chris Paul is running point for the second quarter until Harden comes back in near middle to the end of the second quarter. Right. So they both fresh as I don't know what, and they both play the same position. Harden learned the whole position. He played the whole season learning the position last year and almost averaged a triple-double.
Correct.
So you got somebody who knows how to play two positions, and you got Chris Paul who plays the one position better than anybody in the league. Yeah. So and he can score. He can score just as easy as he can pass. So you also got shooters everywhere on their team. So it's like you said, they do Golden State just as well as Golden State does Golden State. But they have a better rotation than Golden State.
I just think I think Steve Kerr wasn't Dan Toney coaching the Suns when Steve Kerr was the executive over there?
The Suns or the Spurs?
Suns.
I think so.
So I think Steve Kerr took that philosophy to Golden State, and now basically you have the mentee or the student. I don't want to call him the student, but you basically you're right. They're playing the same type of basketball. The only difference is the rotations that they're using to get the best combination of shooters on the floor. I think those teams are more even than what people give them credit for. However, I think, and this is what it comes down for to me, because I still haven't seen it. Is Chris Paul gonna be hurt at the end of the year, and is James Harden gonna show up when the weight of the game is on his shoulders? That's the only thing I need to know. Because to me, those two things have to happen for them to overtake Golden State. Like that, I have to see James Harden show up and Chris Paul can't be hurt. That's going to make it a game. Other than that, if one of those things happen, I don't give them a shot. But so far, they playing it better.
Because everybody else on their team can consistently do what they do, whether it's playoffs or not. But James Harden has choked in the playoffs, and Chris Paul has gotten hurt every year in the playoffs.
Yes.
So it's a combination of that bad situation.
Yeah. He's already been hurt this year, so that's why I'm concerned. Because I thought there was that one Clipper year where they could have challenged Golden State, and did he hurt his hand, or did they not have Blake Griffin? One of those two, and then that was it. Then they just got ran off the court.
He hurt his hand, but I don't know if Blake Griffin is ever really on the court.
No, I wasn't sure if that was the year he twisted his knee or it was the hand. They all run together.
2 injuries. Both of them got hurt. Blake, then
you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so what do y'all think Golden State weaknesses are?
Go ahead, Jay.
So Golden State's, they could tire themselves out. Like I think their biggest weakness is themselves. Like if they just get into a point where if they get to a rut and they start having an off night and they just get to the point where they stop losing faith in their shot, then it's on them. But other than that, like if Golden State wants to beat you and they turn it on to beat you, they gonna beat you. Because now with KD playing like he's actually tall and doing blocking shots, their biggest weakness is at their center. Let's say that because of JaVale McGee and Pachulia. Like they can't move their feet, so they're slow on their feet, and that's where they get to do switches, and then you get them out of place, and you can win that way. But outside of that, if you were talking about all the talent on their front court, it's them. And then when they come out of the bench, they got younger players and guys that still can shoot on the bench, so it's all there. So it's Golden State.
Yeah.
They want to win. They're not gonna win, but it's nothing you can.
I totally agree. Because I think,
in my opinion, do y'all think Steph can beat you?
Yes,
in a game by himself.
He has. I think he's already done it, and so now that
7 games, in a 7-game series, do you think Steph can beat you?
Heck yeah.
He could. He's already done it. They did it. That was the key to their first championship. He beat the LeBron James championship. The LeBron James first loss to the Golden State Warriors. I think Steph beat them. But I think after that, they keyed in on Steph, and they didn't have anybody else that they could go to because Klay Thompson was their best two-way player, and so he didn't have enough. I don't think he had enough energy to take over the game if he wasn't taking over the game early on. But Steph can beat most teams by himself. Some of these elite teams, it's going to take more.
Harrison Barnes is enough for them to win that second one. Harrison Barnes dropped, and his numbers lost in that second one. He was the key to winning it. Had Harrison played up to what he had done the rest of the season, they would have won the second one too.
True.
Yeah, I think Steph can win or lose you a game, just based on his turnovers. Like, if his turnovers are down, then I think Steph.
That's how they lost the next one. That's how they lost the second chip.
If you lock everybody up and you got a defender down low, to me, I don't know. I don't think Steph can just beat you in the game, because to me now their player that you need to key up is KD.
Oh, absolutely. KD is the X factor of the whole. That's why everybody hated when he went there, because he could do everything that anybody else on that court could do. And now you can't just key in on Steph. You can't just key in on Clay. You have to actually play defense on more than two guys. And now you can't leave them. And I think KD is a better ISO player than Steph. Like Steph can beat you, but obviously he's dependent on screens and pick and roll situations where Kevin Durant could just take the ball to the hoop or pull up wherever. And he's a one-on-one matchup.
I think
he's coming for LeBron.
And I think the tricky part is that they need KD now. Like before, it was like, oh, they don't need KD to win a championship because they didn't need KD to win a championship. But I think what Jay just said, Harrison Barnes was an X factor in that. Andre Iguodala was the X factor in that. But all of those players who are still there, who was there, are old now. Mm-hmm. And they're not playing the same way they played a couple of years ago.
Right.
Because honestly, a couple of years ago, that team was better than it was last year. Last year, it was KD who made the difference. But a couple of years ago, Draymond getting that suspension, which caused them to lose that series. Mm-hmm. I think if you key in on KD, you don't let KD help them beat you. I don't think the rest of their team can beat you.
But see, I think that's easier said than done.
Absolutely.
And even with LeBron James, arguably the best player in the world, D'ing up KD, he got smashed. I mean, nobody wants to hear that, but he got. Listen, he's taking it to him in his face, and there's
no stopping KD. I don't know how you stop KD.
And that's my thing. Like, I don't think you can totally stop him, and I think you're gonna have to shut down one of those guys. And I don't think you can completely shut one of them down. That's the problem.
Or you Pachulia his ankles.
True, but then I think that's when they like to go small, and that's when they're most effective. Their issue is going to be now when they go small with people like the Rockets, they match up well. Or you go small with OKC. Steven Adams is moving a whole lot better and playing a lot better defense than years past, and so I don't know if they're going small is going to be as effective if they can't shoot consistently. But it's to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, KD played a consistent 5 games on fire last year in the finals. And the only way I can see you shutting down them is to have a 3 who can guard KD. And there's not a 3 in the league other than Kawhi, who I still don't even think he can guard KD. I haven't. Who have you seen in the league who gave KD trouble?
I mean, Kawhi was the only person I know that's done anything that's provided any resistance to someone like a. But outside of that, I mean, you don't have any bigs that stand with him height wise that are gonna run. And then if you put anybody smaller, he's just gonna shoot over him. So it's like, what am I supposed to do with KD? You just gotta hope that he misses, or you just gotta try and disrupt him.
Yeah.
But even if you count out what KD does, I feel like they just have too much. Like when you have Clay, you have Steph, you have Draymond, who all these people can just start scoring if they start feeling the game. You got Andre Iguodala who comes off. You got Nick Young who comes off the bench. I mean, you just have so much talent that would still be good on other teams. That it just if you shut down one person, it's just hey, next guy's right here waiting.
I just think their bench is weak this year. I don't think they're strong.
Their bench is weaker. Their bench is weaker than it has been in the past. But I think the whole I've always thought, even with the arrival of KD, their whole game, the linchpin to the Warriors is Klay Thompson. Like you're expecting him to be the best two-way player on the floor for your team for them to win. Like just from us, because he's really guarding their best shooter on the floor, in which frees up Steph and KD to go off at any time. But I also think that you're gonna get an off night from KD and or Steph, and you're gonna need Clay to fill in those buckets or Draymond. And so I agree with Jay. Like the interest of they're trying to get to they're like LeBron. They're trying to get to the playoffs. They're not in it for the regular season at all. They really want to just be like, yo, can we just call us when the playoffs start? We ain't trying to break records. We just trying to win some championships. And it's going to be interesting. Does anybody know how they break down the seeding so far? Like, who's going to have the toughest road in the Western Conference to the finals?
Well, for the rest of the regular season, Golden State has the easiest schedule. But I don't know how that works as far as what do you mean toughest in the West?
No, I mean like, in terms of seeding, like who's going to have the hardest road? Like I think the team that has to play both the Rockets and OKC is going to have a harder time getting out of the West than just having to play one of those guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think.
Ain't nobody gonna get to play both of them because after whoever plays one first is done.
Right. Let me see. NBA standings.
So yeah, 1 is Golden State, 2 is Houston, 3 is San Antonio, 4 is
Minnesota.
Yeah, Timberwolves. So then you go to the bottom seeds who just fluctuates all the time.
Man, they're disappointing.
Thunder, Nuggets, Pelicans, and Trailblazers.
Right.
One of the other teams is going to take over unless the Jazz jump up there. They're the only team who got a shot at taking the 8 spot.
Well, yeah, the Jazz 500. So
I can see the Pelicans falling out though, and I can see the Jazz going in. But
I think
the main question that you're asking is where is the Thunder going to end up? Because the Rockets. So what's the playoff seeding? It's 1, 8, 4, 5, right?
Yeah.
So one in this situation, 1 would be the Rockets. Which do we think the Rockets are going to finish with the best record in the West?
No.
Not if Warriors have an easier schedule. But they'll make it competitive. I think they'll make it competitive to the end though.
So let's say the Warriors take 1 and the Rockets take 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then we got we got Warriors, and let's say we got the Blazers. I'd say the Blazers moving to 7th and the Jazz moving to 8th.
Right.
Okay.
Y'all agree with that? And the Pelicans out. So, or you want the Pelicans or the Nuggets?
I'll take the Pelicans inside there. That's why, like I said, I don't think the Jazz are going to make that little run they got. It's cool, but they ain't going to stay there.
You don't think the Jazz are going to stay there? So leave it where it is now, right?
Yeah.
So the Pelicans 7, Trailblazers 8th, and then we swap in the Rockets and the Warriors 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that means the Warriors are 1 going against the Trailblazers, and that means the second round for them would either be the Timberwolves or the Thunder. They would crush the Timberwolves. The Thunder would be a tough matchup for them, but I think they still beat one of those 2 teams.
Right.
So
athleticism is on the OKC side.
Right. So I think the 2 seed has the tougher road, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Because the 2 seed Rockets would get the Pelicans first, and then they would get the winner between the Spurs and the Nuggets, which would be the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
They would get I think it's the same road, honestly, because you either playing the Spurs or you playing the OKC.
Give me the Spurs. I would take the Spurs because I just don't think they have that. I think the Spurs have superseded expectations because I don't know. You guys know better than me. I don't think Kawhi is back, but
nah.
So I think they play better. They play a better team ball, but I think in these games you don't have anybody who's going to really take over for you. I don't trust LaMarcus Aldridge just yet. He's got to show me something more, but I don't trust anybody on the Spurs to like go off. They'll play good D, but who's going to go off? I'm still waiting, but you're right. You're right. It's probably a comparable road for both of them for 1 and 2. So yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right, we getting long-winded, y'all, and that's a good thing for us. But let's go ahead and because this weekend is the All-Star game and
Black Panther.
Black Panther.
That's right.
The
The
All-Star
winner
game
for the weekend.
All-Star game will be hosted in Wakanda.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, you know what? Next week, I don't know that we're doing it on our whole episode, but if y'all want to jump on next week, we may cover. Y'all both watching Black Panther this weekend?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the wife got tickets. I was like, oh snap.
So we may do a recap on that if y'all want to.
All right.
So All-Star Game is this weekend. This episode of the podcast will happen on 0.5 Friday. So I'm calling the whole episodes of this podcast is released on Tuesdays, and the half episodes, which is just me and my friends, will be posted on Fridays. This will air before the All-Star Game, but we can give our opinions of the All-Star Game on just a couple of questions. So this year's All-Star Game, they're doing a different format. Instead of doing East versus West, which was the complaint when all of the good players was going to the West in the offseason, the complaint wasn't just about the All-Star Game, but it was about the playoffs, that the Eastern Conference playoffs would be trash. Do you guys, so the new format this year is that they did a pick'em style, and that was decided between the NFL execs, the NFL commissioner, and Chris Paul, who didn't even make the All-Star game, right? But
Right.
Chris Paul is on the NFL PA.
NBA PA, yeah.
Right. I'm sorry, NBA PA, right. So they thought that it would have a better competitive game and that it would be more interesting to fans to have this kind of a thing. So they decided to do a pick'em style game where they have a team LeBron and team
Curry.
First, let me read off who's on both teams. Team LeBron is LeBron. I don't know if this is in order in which they picked it. If it is, that would be interesting as I don't know what, but I'm not sure because I can't. I'll read the order and then you guys tell me whether you think this is the order in which they made their picks. So LeBron is the captain of his team. He has Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, LaMarcus Aldridge, Bradley Beal, Victor Oladipo, Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Andre Drummond, Goran Dragic, and Kemba Walker. So 4 of his people are injury subs. Because apparently he has the same issue as the Madden curse. So Team Curry is Steph, Giannis, DeMar DeRozan, Embiid, Harden, Jimmy Butler. I almost called him James Butler. Do y'all think it's James Butler?
Sounds better. Sounds professional.
Draymond Green, Al Horford, Damian Lillard, Kyle Lowry, Klay Thompson, and Karl Anthony Towns. My first question is, listening to that order, do y'all think that's the order in which they pick the teams?
Well, no, because you said Anthony Davis before KD. So KD was the first.
Right. KD had to be the first pick, right?
Absolutely.
And they revealed it, but I can't remember. But yeah, KD was definitely the first pick.
So I think everybody surmises that he was the first pick because everybody knows he's the best player available. Like, no matter what lineup you put out there, he could play with any lineup that you got. And
obviously,
I think the summation is that, yeah, and he picked first. Like Steph wouldn't pick his own guy if he had the chance to first. So
absolutely. Okay. All right. And the it's in LA this year. So how did they choose who picked first? I think it was a coin flip, wasn't it?
No,
Right.
I think the leading vote getter
Yeah.
got the first pick, and it
Okay.
was LeBron.
So of those two teams, who do y'all think gonna win it?
The team, I think the team that wants to play defense, and I don't know who's gonna, like this game, like who's gonna want to play? That's the question.
It's got nothing to do with that. Team that got
you had to pick between the two teams.
It's just like the NBA Finals. The team with KD won.
I think so, but I'm looking at this roster here. I don't know who's gonna play. That's the biggest question. So like who's I think Team LeBron probably only because I think those guys will have more to want to prove.
Absolutely.
Like you got Russell, like Russell Westbrook hates to lose. That dude plays like I've heard this quote from PTI. Yo, that dude plays with the anger of 1,000 suns every time he steps on the court. So like he's gonna want to be the MVP. Like he's not gonna take backseat to nobody, and he's gonna want to play and crush the opponent. There's my answer. That's my hot take.
LeBron's team has people who you don't want to play on a street ball game. Like you don't want to. Anthony Davis, okay, but KD, I don't want to play him. Kyrie, I don't want to play him on an exhibition game. Oladipo, Russell Westbrook, Paul George. No, I don't want to play any of them people. At some point in the game, they're going to try to put on the floor at the same time LeBron, Anthony Davis. I'm sorry, maybe not Anthony Davis, but Kevin Durant, Kyrie, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook on the floor.
Absolutely.
And what the other team doing with that?
The other team ain't that bad now that I'm looking at it. I mean, you could put Giannis
Be right back.
and Embiid. Yeah, you could put Giannis and Embiid on the floor at the same time. I just think Russell Westbrook is the X factor because don't get me wrong, you got Paul George, you got Russell, as you stated, I don't know if Kyrie's going to be healthy enough to play or have the motivation to want to push it. But you're right, Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis. But I think if you can get Giannis and Embiid going, and you're going to have James Harden, I hope he shows up. If he shows up, it could be a game. If he don't show up, it ain't going to be a game. Like James Harden's going to have to want to put on a show. He may, because I think he's from LA, but he's going to have to, I think he's from, not LA, I think he's from California. So he's going to have to want to put on a show for it to be competitive. James Harden
and Giannis is the only two reasons in which I think Curry team has a chance of even keeping it close.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
Curry in All-Star games, he's trash in All-Star games.
Yes, he is. Because he can't, because there's no pick and roll. There's no, it's like, okay, but he may, and that's what I'm saying, if nobody's really playing defense, he can get shots off, crossing half court. But how, in the wanes of the game, I don't know if any team is really going to want to play. And I don't even know, to be quite frank, I don't know if people like LeBron James, Steph Curry, I don't even know if they're going to get up for these games. Because it's like, I ain't trying to do nothing crazy. I'm just going to, I'm just trotting out here. LeBron, I don't think so. I don't even think he's going to be the best player on his team. I think he's going to show out for the first quarter, and he's going to hit the bench. He's going to hit the bench. He's going to hit the bench until the fourth quarter. I'm telling you. Because
you remember when Kobe and this team has LeBron's name on it this year.
Yes, I agree.
But see, there's no. He would take a game.
But here's the thing: I don't know who wants LeBron James that bad on this West team? Like who? I agree that I agree, and I'm about to sound like serious fan. I believe LeBron James is a front runner. It has his name on it. He's gonna want to win, but I don't think everybody who's LeBron's rival is on his team. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, people that want to like lick their chops and go after this dude one-on-one in the last 2 minutes of the game. You know, Russell Westbrook.
But this is also his opportunity to show that he can play with stars, and that's not a real thing. That he's not a team player. I mean, it's a lot to try to it's a lot to try to get from an exhibition game. But I just feel like LeBron. I think this is the game. I've never seen LeBron not play hard in an All-Star game.
He didn't play hard in the game last year.
Did he not?
No. Like he'll play in the end and he'll play in the beginning, but he's not. He's sitting on the bench half the time talking.
That's everybody though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think he's really. I don't know. I got to see if he's interested. I think it's a lot to say.
This isn't a team where LeBron makes the difference, though.
True, and I think that's why they'll win, because he won't have to. Right. He won't have to be the guy who makes the difference. You got Kevin Durant for that. You got possibly Kyrie Irving for that. You got Russell Westbrook, who I think is the guy who always wants to show out in these games, like, and prove that he's absolutely. And I think he wants to show that he's better than all these guys. When he's on the floor with stars, he's the best player all the time.
Yep.
And that's so. I mean, I'm just hoping I get the end.
Colluding like hell.
Oh yeah, they're all like. I think that tampering thing is so bogus, because they're all tampering. Every team is tampering. They're all tampering. Like,
I don't know.
Every team should put
all teams tamper the way the Lakers tamper.
No, not in the same way. Not in the same way.
Fans tamper, and the Laker Hollywood people who come to the games tamper. I don't think everybody tampers the way that the Lakers tamper.
No, not as overt, but I think every team tampers. Because I don't have to tamper, but I can say, yo, Russ, talk to your boy. I can say, hey, Steph, go talk to your boy. So see what he say. See what he want to do. See if he's interested in coming and play with us. You know what I mean? Like, it's like backdoor tampering. It's not overt, but you know that I can't do it from a ownership standpoint, but I got agents. I got people I could talk to. I got go-betweens. That gets the message across. But
so the tampering conversation we're gonna carry into another week.
No problem.
When we
didn't mean to take that sidebar.
No. But we there's a conversation that I definitely want Jay White on for that. Because we're gonna 1 week we'll talk about where we think LeBron is going, and we'll get more into it when the off season come. But in upcoming weeks, we'll talk about that.
No doubt.
We're getting long on the podcast too, so I think Jay just came back. So I just want your quick answers and why you think so on these next couple of categories real quick, and then we'll wrap up this week's podcast. You guys have been awesome for sure. I definitely want to hit y'all up as many times as I can on the following week. Slam dunk contest. Victor Oladipo, Larry Nance Jr., Dennis Smith Jr., Donovan Mitchell. Jay, who's your winner?
Dennis Smith.
All right. 50-inch vertical? Is that the reason why?
Well, that boy got bounced, and he's from Carolina, so.
Yeah, okay.
But not the right
one. Dane.
I hate to agree, but I agree too. I think he's with Clutch Sports, LeBron's team. So I always believe there's a backwards narrative in these things. So yes, Dennis Smith Jr.
All All right, let's just make that unanimous. The size and the leaping ability, I don't think that there's going to be somebody else who can compete with that. Because normally, if it's a 38-inch vertical or 40-inch vertical on somebody who's 6'4" and under, you got a good show. But the problem is that they don't have hands big enough to dunk it, or they can't get up high enough to complete the dunks that they want to do.
Right.
Dennis Smith Jr. has a 50-inch vertical. It's not even, and we've seen him like doing it in game, so I'm not really worried about
crazy
him doing. Although his dunks in games have been pretty basic.
Absolutely.
Games.
Oladipo
is better when he's dunking on people.
True. I think Oladipo will give him a run, only because like Nance, he's a shorter guard, and the dunks will look more impressive if he can make them, being a shorter guard. But
yeah, I think Mitchell and Larry Nance Jr. are better in-game dunkers. So I'm gonna take them out for that. All right, 3-point contest. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Wayne Ellington, who I did not even know was still in the league.
My boy, Tar Heel.
Yeah, Paul George, Eric Gordon, who was the champion last year, Tobias Harris, which I'm no idea why he's in the jersey, Kyle Lowry, and Klay Thompson. Who you got?
Oof.
Ain't Klay from LA too?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
I'm
gonna do this by process of elimination. I don't think Bradley Beal is clutch, even though he's on my team. Devin Booker is a streaky shooter who is more often on. He hits from everywhere, but he's a stats patter in my opinion.
Right.
You don't agree?
No, I think that's a great shot that enough people don't talk about, but I agree. No, I agree.
I'll put a pin in that one. Wayne Ellington, who I think is great from the corner, but I don't think of Wayne Ellington as a 3-point shooter from anywhere else. So that's two of the three. Two of the five, right? It's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 of the 5 racks. Right. I think he can clear. I don't think he can clear anything other than that. Paul George, another streaky shooter. He's smooth, but I don't know. He don't really jump on threes either.
Nah,
that's why he might have a chance, because you don't gotta jump. If you don't gotta jump.
Yeah, I think Paul got a chance. Ed Gordon. Can we just take Tobias Harris out?
Right.
I think so too.
Okay. Kyle Lowry, he's a good 3-point shooter. I think he's better in game than
he's a jump shooter.
True.
He is a jump shooter. But he doesn't get much height on his 3-point shot.
Right, but you got to it's about timing and for speed and how you keep consistent shot. I think for him, Kyle Lowry and Bradley Beal, they're both a streaky shooter, but their shots rely on them jumping because they're shorter. Then I'm going to take kind of almost on the same line. And the others, everyone else is kind of, I can feel where you might go. Eric Gordon, my top 3 are going to end up being Eric Gordon, of course, Klay Thompson, and probably Paul George.
That's my top.
Man, I got to get a new show because I can't be agreeing with y'all on everything. That's exactly what my 3 are.
I'm going Klay Thompson. I ain't gonna hold you.
You going Klay?
I'm going Klay.
I gotta see if he's interested.
Who?
Gotta see if he's interested. Klay Thompson. I don't know if he's interested. Like, sometimes these guys get in the game and you like, do they want it or they just there? You know what I mean? Like,
Klay,
but you're right.
He's to go, right?
Yeah, he want. Yeah. I think if it comes down to like Paul George, Klay Thompson, I think they'll go at it. I don't know if it's like Eric Gordon, Klay Thompson. I don't know if he'll want it as bad. But
here's the thing about the 3-point contest, though, real quick, is that the dunk contest is something that in the NBA, just about everybody can dunk, right? But having the slam dunk title didn't mean anything to many people, right? And the NBA is moving more towards a 3-point shooting thing. And the 3-point shooting contest has always been something that some of the greats have been proud of. Like some of the best 3-point shooters. Like right now, to get that title means that one of the hungry players can definitely put that on their thing, and they may, like Wayne Ellington actually may get a contract out of winning it.
Right.
I agree.
But I just don't think he's gonna win it.
Here's my thing though. Do you think that this field of 3-point shooters is the best field of 3-point shooters?
No.
I mean, that's Steph not in it.
Yeah, I mean, give me Steph, give me James Harden,
give me KD.
You know, yeah, and then now I like if I win against these guys.
But I think separate the reason why they are not in it.
Okay. Yes, correct. And I think you can get.
And I think Craig Hodges is also the reason they're not in it, because your best players can still get whooped in the 3-point shootout. Some people are just more automatic from three. Steve Kerr won it one year, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, but I'm saying that the reason I brought up like they got like Clay is still in it this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the people you just named are not in it. Clay decided to still be in it because this is his bread and butter, and this is what him winning the championship a couple years ago. He's in it this year for a reason, and he's in it this year because he wants to win it. And
I think he's in it because it's hometown.
Yeah,
I think he's in it. Yeah, that may be it.
So your question of whether or not Clay will be interested, I think he's going to be interested. I think it's going to be in the final. I think it's going to be Clay and Eric Gordon. I don't think Paul George will make the final. I'm going to take Eric Gordon, though.
Like, Wayne will be my sleeper, and Clay and Eric Gordon are my top two. But Wayne is my sleeper.
I'm going to take Devin Booker as a sleeper. Nope. I'm going to take as a sleeper.
Oh.
You be trash. Never mind.
I'm gonna take. No, that's exactly what I'm about to do. I'm taking Brad Beal. I'm taking Brad Beal as the sleeper.
Oh, you can have Brad.
And I'm taking. Yeah, I think he may want to prove something, and I think because he may not get. Listen, he ain't gonna get no shot in the All-Star game, so he might realize this is my only spot to get shine. And I'll take Clay. I'll take Klay Thompson to win it in LA.
So both of y'all got Clay.
Yeah.
You got Brad as your sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
We can't pick a top three as a sleeper because we all got the same top three.
Yeah.
Right.
You got Wayne Ellington as your sleeper. I'm gonna take Eric Gordon as the winner, and I'm gonna take Kyle Lowry as the sleeper.
Boy, I hear you.
All right. So I mean, that's the All-Star game. Who y'all say y'all think gonna win it?
James.
Yeah, I said James too. You said James too, right? We all agreed on that.
Yeah.
And Anthony Davis. That's stupid.
Yeah. James.
All right. So what we'll do is y'all watching all the events this All-Star weekend?
Yeah.
Or however y'all catch it, whether it's highlights on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we'll recap that either next week or whenever y'all available again. We'll recap Wakanda. Y'all dressing up for the movie?
I'm thinking about it, but I might just go in all black.
That's the move. I'm definitely going in all black. We ordered sweatshirts. I got a black Africa sweatshirt. It's black color Africa joint. Christine got a yellow for Africa joint on there sweatshirt. So we gonna wear that, doing the black. Her dad got a kufi, but I don't think I can get to her dad.
I heard about that.
But cool. We'll recap. We'll try to do sports and entertainment next week. We'll only recap the All-Star game.
Okay.
But you guys, in the meantime, if y'all see some stuff that comes up, hit me on the chat. Let me know if it's some topics y'all want to cover, just from an entertainment standpoint. Because everything I'm doing on this podcast, it's the same podcast, but on my episodes, it's stuff that Christine wouldn't want to cover. So that's your horror movies, that's sports, that's regular entertainment, stuff like that. If you want to cover relationships, Ratchet TV, and and general stuff like that. So
got it.
All right, cool.
Got you.
Appreciate y'all for getting on.
No problem. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. Appreciate everybody for listening. I think this went great. We'll let them be the judge. See if we can get this out here. With y'all permission, I will release this on YouTube as well. So I think it was good video and audio.
Definitely.
No problem.
We didn't get that training in the back though, Dan.
Oh no, I had to cover that up. I wasn't sure if I wanted it because it came by again. I was holding on to the mic. I was like, "Oh man, it's trying about to blow up. They're trying about to blow up the podcast."
Have people triangulating your location?
Nah, yeah, my wife won't like that at all.
Right. All right, y'all. So until next time, everybody. This is To the Q podcast, and we'll get at y'all next week.
All right, peace.
Peace.